Welcome to ETMA Tech Talk, the podcast that unveils forces shaping the future of tech. In each episode, we bring together visionary leaders, forward-thinking innovators, and game-changing experts who are transforming the enterprise tech landscape. Listen to insider perspectives, dive into bold stories of digital transformation and strategic breakthroughs. Here is your host, ETMA's Managing Director, Joe Basili.
Imagine building a mobility management and IoT company from scratch, merging it with an established TEM provider, and then selling the organization to ScanSource, all while breaking ceilings in leadership. That's what we're unpacking today. Our guest is a trailblazer in the world of enterprise connectivity and telecom expense management. Natasha Royer Coons, CEO of Advantix, now a ScanSource company. Natasha isn't just co-leading Advantix transition into managed connectivity experience. She's also stands out as the first female and Asian American president of ETMA. And she was recently named a 2025 CRN channel chief, as well as a whole MCX platform. Under her leadership, Advantix has grown into a SaaS-driven platform that gives real visibility into SIM, circuits, plans, invoices, and a heck of a lot more. Today's conversation is a look behind the curtain, how to scale connectivity solutions into recurring revenue, secrets to building a multi-carrier smart SIM that actually works, and how to lead bold channel initiatives. So we're going to get into all of that and how mobility-first enterprises are adopting intelligent wireless solutions, why automation and visibility, not just cost savings, to drive your telecom strategy, and the surprising place where sustainability meets mobility. Whether you're a CIO wrestling with mobile strategies, a CFO seeking to optimize spend, or simply aiming to blaze your own new trails, this episode delivers powerful strategies, real-life playbooks, and hopefully a few laughs along the way. Ready to elevate your connectivity? Please welcome Natasha Royer Coons.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's talk a little bit about your firm's specialty areas and your focus.
Absolutely. Joe, we're Advantix, and we were acquired last year, almost 12 months ago, come August 15th, by ScanSource. Advantix is a 25-year-old company, and our roots were in expense management, thus clearly our membership within ETMA. But about 5 years ago, we pivoted and brought in connectivity into our ecosystem. And we reimagined the connectivity experience for our clients, which we call our MCX, or a managed connectivity experience, because we said we literally created jobs in a whole company out of managing complexity around mobility and wireline or fixed assets. But what if we brought in a connectivity experience and used our expense management lens to create that experience, which is visibility, control, transparency, great reporting, peace of mind, and optimization out the gate. And so that's what we've done with our connectivity experience. And we've also brought in some great tech, Joe, technology to provide pervasive networking, such as with our SIM, if you drop the connection, it'll automatically reconnect to the next available carrier. So when we looked at our enterprise clients that's got fleets or retail that you don't want to not be able to process payments, whatever the case is, this pervasive networking creates just a lot more redundancy. So that's Advantix.
Okay. And with that explanation and the focus on connectivity, you mentioned enterprise clients. Is there a particular segment within the enterprise market segment that works better for you?
Yes, we have found a lot of success, Joe, in fleet and logistics, and folks call that T&L, transport and logistics, but like fleet management. The reason is because you take a look at the delivery of packages, right? Some of your big ones are using our technology in their mobile computers, which envision when they're on the truck and scanning packages or providing proof of delivery, going from route to route, market to market, or maybe you're near the Canadian border or the Mexico border. So with our SIM, it'll switch nationally, but if you hit a border, no big deal. It'll operate just as if you're in the United States without roaming. So when you look at for fleets, again, that pervasive coverage just really enhances the driver experience and the customer experience.
Does that mean, how does that impact the cost then?
Yeah, that's a great question, Joe. So being in our world, expense management, our customer's not going to get bill shock. Like all of a sudden you were roaming on a different network and you didn't know. For us, we thought, okay, simplicity is everything, again, with our 10 roots. So we created a zone, Joe, that is massive, a zone that has the same monthly recurring charge across the United States, multiple carriers, 3 Canadian providers, 3 in Mexico, the EU, major locations out of Asia Pac and EMEA. And that is one monthly recurring charge, no matter where you are in the world. Really elimination of bill shock, but the ability even, Joe, to jump on a plane and know that your phone's going to work when you get there.
What about Latin America? Are they
Yes,
also part?
like your major cities.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And then what kind of channel partners interest you both from a buying and a selling perspective?
Our channel partners are, I would say, in a couple of different areas of the channel. Our roots came with more of your typical TSD, right? Your services distributor model with your agents that are typically going to customers and providing great consulting around cloud connectivity, as Joe was almost an afterthought. But we were there. We held on, said, if you bring in a TEM and we're able to audit, drive for savings, and create a blueprint for inventory, you, channel partner, will be able to bring in some great solutions because you'll have the inventory, so to speak. So that's where we did an incredible amount of business for about 15 years. And in the last 5 years, thus the ScanSource acquisition, because of our connectivity experience, we were able to cross over into another world, which I'll just loosely call it the VAR world or the value-added reseller. Some VARs don't call themselves VARs, and they call themselves solutions providers. So it would be a company that provides hardware and managed services, such as maintenance around the hardware. And these are very large companies, Joe, right? And they exist in our membership. So we partner with them to say, and I'll just talk about our dear friend Gina, right? Joe, you did a podcast with her, but like with Stratix, wouldn't it be incredible if Stratix is able to provide that purpose-built hardware for some of their major enterprise logos, again, for inventory or scanning, you load on the connectivity, and you have all of this peace of mind that we talked about that we deliver around our connectivity experience. It allows our value-added reseller partners to bring on hardware, software, connectivity, and managed services all in one bundle.
Nice.
And I would say the next frontier, Joe, for us is to really think about, there's ISVs out there, right? So these are software vendors, and they start with the software, but they still need hardware. A lot of them need connectivity. So how can we help ISVs also create a more integrated bundled solution for their end client? MSPs are delivering a service. Somewhere you need connectivity as well. So I think there's many roads to Rome, but our DNA lives in the channel. So we don't do direct business. We're 100% channel. So our whole purpose for existence is to really help our channel partners be more successful in delivering great solutions.
So you just said that 100% of it is through the channel. So
Yes.
how do you, like, when you're evaluating, you're so good at channel and you go to so many conferences, but how do you evaluate partners and avoid a situation where it's just, oh my gosh, this is just a time sink? And how do you determine this one's going to be really sweet?
Gosh, that's a really good question, Joe. In the channel, we have so much respect for our channel warriors because they put themselves out there, right? They moved away from something potentially very comfortable, especially in the agent world, and sought to create their own company and built it from there. And it could be one person, it could be 3. Some of the larger ones are 10, 15. To be honest, we don't differentiate. Any channel partner could have an opportunity to go after the right customer. I think the better way that we're able to serve our partners is to say, okay, here's the model client for us. And here are some great verticals to go after. So we know channel partners sometimes is a one-person shop, and they're building their way to success. And we want to be there for that climb. For us, because of the way we built our platform, Joe, we can handle one SIM or 400 or 500,000 SIMs from an ordering and billing standpoint. So again, we're able to scale up and down pretty easily.
Nice. And then what about, can you give us some examples of maybe situations where you've been able to come in and fill gaps in a partner's portfolio, their product offering,
Yes.
and where the integration or maybe the partnership has really worked out well?
Yeah. One of my favorite stories is around a partner, and I'll say his call name here. Joe, we have call names at Advantix. Nathan, who a lot of folks know, my business partner, is Cowboy, and I was given the call name Queen. I promise I didn't give it to myself. But this partner, we did so much business together, and it was so fun. We call him Dynamo. So Dynamo came from a value-added reseller environment. He had a client that he had for about 20 years, spent 2 days on site a week.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And his core competency was around things, Joe, that I frankly don't really understand, like hypervisors and really intensive networking equipment and the maintenance. And in the course of delivering services, found out that the thousands of stores, it was very difficult for them to manage the devices in the stores that help with managing product, mobile computers. Multiple carriers, right, required for that sort of expansive coverage. Very difficult to deal with the contracts and the usage, which speaks to our TEM space. We were able to allow him to expand his portfolio and his value beyond the hardware and the managed services that he had delivered for about 2 decades to then incorporate connectivity around the devices. So now, fast forward to where we are, all the stores have these mobile computers. Because of our savings, we were able to fund a brand new refresh. The old ones were getting so old that they would lose battery or power really quickly. We were able to provide pervasive coverage so they didn't have to have multiple carriers to manage, just Advantix, and the SIM will obviously switch to, again, and the next available carrier is needed. Because of our TEM roots, Joe, we were able to provide that service for optimization. So there's peace of mind because when we walked in, there was massive overages as well. And also cost allocations. In our world, Joe, and I'll explain it to our audience because maybe not everybody knows what that is, or maybe we have different definition. But in retail, you have so much inventory assigned to the stores. And in our world, it's got a monthly recurring charge. If you're not managing that, it could be sitting in drawers, writing up charges, so to speak.
Right.
So we're able to handle all the allocation for each asset back to the store. With our platform, we're able to put a perimeter around it. So these very expensive devices that are like $2,000 a device, if they walked outside a perimeter, we would know. So we were able to, for this particular partner, really expand, again, the value, the integrated stack of solutions, and clearly the revenue to our channel partner.
Nice. So Dynamo, that's a cool call
Well,
sign.
that's
Any
great,
other
right?
examples of some cool call signs that you want to talk about?
Oh, yeah. For the audience, if they go to our website, they'll see on our leadership page and on our channel management page, which is our sales team, basically, we all have sketches and we have superhero names. Let's see. Christine Collins, everybody sees her at the show. She's Coco. A couple of the team members are, one is Sim Slayer, one is Blade, one is the Hammer. So we have a lot of fun. And I'm talking about Gina again here, Joe, but we love Gina and she's Chrome Queen.
I like it.
Because they sell so many Chrome devices. Anyway, she's Chrome Queen.
So how are eSIMs changing the game in your business?
We have embraced eSIM. We feel like that is absolutely the road to freedom. And we're a customer advocate as it relates to the mobility experience. So with eSIM, which we have incorporated as long as the hardware and modem accepts the eSIM, it's great because we're able to change over the air from profile to profile, from carrier to carrier. So you don't have to do a massive truck roll in order to upgrade or change out to another carrier. For us, we believe absolutely eSIM is the future.
So just to qualify that a little bit, no
Yeah.
truck roll, and over the air. Just explain that for a layperson that maybe doesn't understand those terms too well and the impact to a business.
Sure. So, for example, in the past, it's a physical SIM card, right? Like you have to put it inside your phone. So, imagine for enterprise clients that have 10,000, 20,000 devices out there, and you need to either install another SIM profile because you need to add another carrier profile for redundancy, or what if you actually just wanted to switch carriers?
Oh.
So, when I say truck roll, meaning you got to get to all those devices. And it's a lot of work to pop out the SIM, put in the new one, and reconfigure the phone. Any piece of equipment that is enabled for our eSIM, we can push out an over-the-air command, meaning switch carriers or use the Advantix Smart SIM. So in your phone, Joe, if you said, okay, Natasha, I'm going to buy your service, I literally would be able to push out a notification to your phone. Once you give me the proper information, you would get a pop-up window to say, I'm ready to install your Smart SIM. And you install it and you're live. That's it.
So no downtime, no expense of sending all that's hardware into some office or having somebody have to go to a corporate office and wait while the SIM's changed out. All of that's automated is what you're saying.
Yeah, but so it's far more simple, right?
Do
For
you
the
s-
reconfiguration.
Yeah.
When we had to change out a carrier, we worked with the customer to have an entire migration strategy. How many phones came back when, and there would be a team on hand to reprovision the device. So now we're talking about not only what we talked about, which is an over-the-air provision, but the actual provisioning of the device is that much more simple and fast. That's
It's like
right.
closing a deal with a customer.
So the beauty of it is when you have eSIM enabled with an MDM that lives in the device, you would just tell the eSIM, okay, manage this entire eSIM reconfiguration with all of the existing profiles in the device without any manual intervention.
That's great. I like it.
That's right.
Do you see AI impacting your business at all?
Yes. And thank you, Joe, for bringing all these AI experts to all of our conferences. Recently, I think we're all trying to figure out the place of AI in our companies, how much we invest now, how much you watch the market, because it's like developing so quickly. So for us, we're definitely incorporating in a very methodical way, leveraging like Copilot into all of our systems and training our folks on how to best leverage that is a great starting point. And then taking a more strategic approach to say, okay, with our expense management platform, there's so much data as Joe. Can you imagine all the years, all the customers, there's so much data. How can we leverage an AI to go in there and gather all this information within our own proprietary systems for our clients, for our staff to better serve our clients? So we believe that's where we're going next.
Do you think it'll have an impact on the hardware that customers use, or do you think it's pretty
No,
seamless?
seamless.
Nice.
All right. So we're working on a voice solution that will switch just like our data sim. So, for example, the data session, as I talked about these mobile computers, mostly this is data driven business, right? But now we're going to be launching a voice and SMS, so text solution that if you're on the call and you drop the call, it'll reconnect your voice connection as opposed to you having to wait to reestablish that call like you would normally, right, Joe? Like you're on a freeway, you probably know exactly where you're going to lose coverage or in your house, even sometimes. There's no manual intervention to reconnect the voice call.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's good stuff coming there.
What do you think other industry leaders are really paying attention to right now?
Yeah. I think everybody's watching AI in terms of the impact to the business. In our world, we're pushing the envelopes on all things like freedom of choice with mobility. So whereas in the day, locking down people, a physical SIM that's hard to switch out, contract commitments, and things of that nature, we're looking towards an environment enabled by over-the-air commands with eSIM freedom of choice between any carrier you want, and ultimately leveraging multiple profiles between carriers. So I'll give you an example, Joe. With our solution, let's say with an enterprise client that has two big commits with two major carriers. If you use our SIM, you can actually still utilize your contract with those existing incumbent carriers on the same SIM, retire those contracts, utilize the traffic, and you can add our solution on it. So you can have multiple profiles and you would be able to actually manage that out of a portal. Let's just say, Joe, even procurement says, I want to leverage our buy because we're about to hit our maximum commit with one of our carriers, but the other one I'm a little bit low on, right? On my commitment. You can live in literally a traffic shape now on one SIM to say, let me hit that other commitment. So I hope that makes sense. But basically, it's again putting so much power and choice and freedom back into the hands of our customers.
Like a dynamic or
Yes,
real-time management of your minimum annual and
that's right.
maximum revenue commitments with
Yes.
carriers where you can shift the traffic and avoid those penalties and can cost you big bucks.
Yeah, you nailed it, Joe. So I love your word of dynamic because, again, we all grew up in this environment of being a TEM because things were so clunky and hard to manage. So we're pushing the envelope to say easy, simple, visible, control, transparency. So that's, again, in the world of connectivity, you asked, what are we working on? I think that leaders with the vision are really pushing towards these sort of solutions. I think it's such an exciting time because we are the first connectivity provider with 10 roots, right? We are the first connectivity provider that has ever been purchased, acquired by a hardware distributor and fully integrated into the ecosystem. So we now have an opportunity to expand on that and say to all of our channel partners that purchase hardware through ScanSource and continue to say, we're going to bring you more pathways to connectivity, more integrated solutions, more ability to stack managed services to create value and stickiness and revenue. So I believe we're the first to have done that. And we're going to continue to build that. And one day, I hope that our channel partners will say, when I think about purchasing specialty hardware, Joe, things like a Zebra or a Honeywell or a Data Logic device, these are rugged enterprise devices that are purpose built for a specific environment.
Right.
So going to those, going and creating, going to a ScanSource and saying, when I need to purchase specialty hardware and I need to load it with connectivity and managed services.
Talk a little bit more about the combination with ScanSource and why it made sense for them to acquire you.
Yes. So with ScanSource being a hardware distributor, bringing on a connectivity player such as us with managed services creates an environment where you can integrate an entire bundled solution for an enterprise client. So if you're a partner, you now go to ScanSource and say, okay, I'm going to purchase my hardware here. I'm going to have experts to build a connectivity solution, and they all understand the hardware that I just procured. And if there's any complexities or issues, they will handle it. So they don't have to be in the middle of saying, how do I make sure this hardware marries well with my connectivity solution? And then on top of that, Joe, we're stacking managed services that as a provider, we know drives value for the client. So the partner out the gate can have all of this bundle, if you will, that provides a lot of value that is purpose built, a lot of times for a specific vertical and client ready to go.
That's great. So just as we wrap up this portion of the pod, if you could just talk like if you had to have it all put on a billboard in Times Square or something, what would you want people to walk away with their understanding of Advantix and ScanSource?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question, Joe. A billboard, huh?
Okay.
Okay. I would say we are the hub for connectivity.
Okay.
That's simple.
Okay. Let's transition and get to know you a little bit. You didn't start in America, right? And you've got some really interesting early life experiences. Is there anything that sets you on the path that you're on now, or things that you did growing up that kind of resemble what you do now?
I grew up in Hong Kong. My mother is Chinese, my father's American. So I grew up in a very cosmopolitan city. with a very international background. My grandmother actually started the family business, and it was shoes and fashion. So it was custom made shoes, handbags, as well as fashion that she imported from Europe. I think she blazed the trail back in the 60s, right? Here's a Chinese woman in Rome buying leather or going to Paris to purchase fashion. So I think even then for Europe, they were like, I've never seen quite something like this before. She broke barriers. At the time, Chinese women wear what's called cheongsam, the traditional dresses with the high necks.
Sure.
So my grandmother brought in all of these vibrant fabrics from Europe, and women then started utilizing bright floral and chiffon and all kinds of different fabrics to be able to express themselves. So that was tremendous. So she was a revolutionary in fashion in Hong Kong.
So she broke ceilings with fashion, and I guess you took that and brought it into the business world.
So I took that inspiration and brought it into tech and telecom and into the US. But I would say if there's one lesson, it was growing up at the dinner table. The dinner table was a hubbub of business because it's family business, right? So many of the family members were involved every night, and it was a late dinner because everybody's coming up from our retail stores. So it's like a 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m. dinner, and it's business. Just that was in our blood growing up. I watched my grandmother with the staff or my mother with the staff. And I would say the words that come to mind is be bold, stay bold,
Be bold.
and stay bold.
Oh, really? Okay. So that's the advice that you would give maybe your younger self?
I think I've always been bold, but you got to stay bold too, right?
Stable.
Through it all.
Okay. And if your younger self were to listen to this podcast, flipping it around and bringing them forward as opposed to going back in time and giving them advice,
Yeah.
what would surprise them most about your career path and what you're doing today?
Yeah. I think my younger self would be really surprised at the twists and turns I took to build the business. So, Joe, it wasn't like when I started my first company, Terranova, that model stayed the same. I changed business models within Terranova to speak to a different demand or a different technological innovation or a different market opportunity. And I did that, and we've done that at Advantix. We took 25 years of TEM roots and created a new business within a business that actually took over. From a revenue standpoint and an opportunity standpoint, our connectivity side completely eclipsed our TEM. But our TEM maintains our foundation because it's our platform and all those things we just talked about. I would say the surprise is I started in tech and it was wireline, ended up building wireless networks that smelled like wireline, brought in TEM and managed services, and then turned back around and reinvented IoT when we didn't have a term for it. So I would say my younger self would be like, Natasha, I don't really understand what you do, but to survive in tech and telecom and being an entrepreneur, you really do have to reimagine yourself and your organization again and again, so you don't become archaic.
So keep evolving.
That's another one. Stay bold, but also stay relevant.
Is there a tool, app, or hack that you use daily that other people might not expect or would be surprised by?
Yeah. So I, Joe, have embraced meditation about almost now 3 years ago. And I have an amazing application on my phone called Insight Timer. And it's got tons and tons of different meditations for different things, whether it's sleep or focus or breathing or healing. So not only just breathing through stressful situations, which we know even our SEALs team do. You've heard of the box breathing. But even taking it another layer, which is to be still for a moment. We're all so busy. We run 1,000,000 miles a minute. And typically when we sit down, we go to sleep.
So true.
So that's helped me be more mindful. Joe, the most important thing is to be able to stay present. So I've learned that in some ways through really challenging time that I've been going through. So I've had to really reevaluate my life, my focus, and everything. And the good news, Joe, is that I think I have been living the life I want. So there wasn't a ton of changes there. And I love what I do, but has really forced me to say, okay, if going into the past, there's the sense of grief and loss, and that's painful. But going into
Sure.
the future creates worry and fear because there's things I cannot control. Then how do I create joy in my life now? And that's only by staying present. And I've worked really hard at that.
What are you passionate about outside of work, like hobbies or other things?
So I would say, Joe, along the lines of talking about meditation and all of that, outside of work, I've been really pursuing that. When you look at some of the different ways we can help balance our minds and our bodies, what are those things that are very natural look like? So I've taken a really massive interest in even 3,000-year-old practices like acupuncture, some really cool stuff. Yes. And just
Very
really
cool.
evolving that meditation practice to see where that takes me. And I would say, Joe, my next endeavor outside of what I'm doing with ScanSource, which I love, is to continue to answer this question, right? Which is, what's my purpose? Yes.
Okay.
I want to continue to really pursue that and be able to give back and inspire, hopefully, or make an impact or help. And so, what is my purpose?
I love
And
it.
that's what I want to pursue.
That's fantastic. Let's wrap it up on that. And
Yeah.
let's just finish by talking a little bit about how can the audience find out more about Natasha as well as your company?
Yes. I am absolutely on LinkedIn as myself, Natasha Royer Coons. In regards to Advantix, you have on the screen here our website. Hopefully, you have fun with it. We did a lot of animation, a lot of art, but it's advantixsolutions.com. So, those are some real simple ways to find us.
That's fantastic. That brings us to the end of another episode. I'll see you on the next one. If you enjoyed this conversation, please let us know your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much. Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you all.
Advantech Talk podcast requires more than a conversation. It takes research, collective wisdom, and action. If today's episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear your insights. Join the conversation and help us shape the future together. We'll be back with more stories, strategies, and real-world solutions from the market's top problem solvers, making a difference for everyone. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe, rate, write a review, and share it with someone you think would benefit from it too. Thanks for listening, and see you on the next episode.